right, welcome to a Saturday edition of Detroit in Black and White. We're a little light on some hosts here, but I've got a little cold. But anyways, we've got Jim Nardone, and then we've got Jim Nardone, the former police chief in Trenton, and we've got Vanessa Moss from a vacation spot. Welcome, everybody. We're going to have today's guest about 10:15. We're going to have James Harris, who is the chief of the community relations for the Detroit Fire Department, who's a candidate. He's one of 4 candidates for a consul at large seat. He's got an uphill battle. The 2 incumbents, Mary Waters and Coleman, the second, are going to be they're the opponents. And so, anyways, welcome to the show. Jim, you want to start with?
Yes. Good morning, team. Good morning, Kenneth. Duela. Kenneth says no act of kindness shall go unpunished. Tatum Eason Jr. I think that's a play on an old no good deed goes unpunished kind of. That's how life is. So let's talk about no good deed going unpunished. So we have these hardworking people over there at every airport in the United States preventing terrorist attacks. We may not like them. We may not like the way they treat us, but they're doing a pretty important thing over there at every airport in the United States. Some of them are contracted, but probably 90% of the airports in this country have TSA agents or officers, whatever you call them. Hi, Janet. So, because there is a government shutdown, the government, the U.S. government, Kristi Noem and Donald Trump have decided to telecast at all TSA stations that it's the fault of one party, that being the Democratic Party. So I'd like to know what Allan, Vanessa, what you think, and what all our colleagues, our team members out there think. I like that, Ken, a team.
Yeah. I did a story on it, and I interviewed asked the Wayne County Community Airport Authority, which runs that. They were saying we don't want it, but they lease space from us, and it's their monitors. We've asked them to stop doing it. So I reached out to TSA because they had not heard from TSA, and I asked them. I asked TSA for comment, and I was kind of surprised by the TSA, which TSA Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin responded. They sent me an email saying, it is TSA's top priority to ensure that travelers have the most safe, pleasant, and efficient airport experience possible. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, most of our TSA employees are working without pay. I was surprised that I guess, it's probably a low-level presidential appointment, and they're saying that. But, TSA, or the Wayne County Airport Authority, to its credit, posted this sign that says, attention, the views expressed in the TSA-controlled video do not represent the views of the Wayne County Airport Authority. The Wayne County Airport Authority does not engage in partisan politics. Thank you. So I find it outrageous, but all the rules are no longer in place. All the integrity of government, not that government doesn't have some lapses in integrity, but it try. And here they're not even trying. So, Vanessa?
Yeah, good morning. First of all, I want to say good morning to everybody. I'm sorry it was a little bit late, but hey, y'all. Hey. If you're watching Detroit in Black and White, you guys know what we want you to do. We want you to hit that like, subscribe, and share button. You can catch us on all social media platforms. You can catch us every Wednesday and Friday evening from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You also can watch the when we're not live, you can catch the show anytime you want to. We want you to tell all of your friends about the greatest show on these YouTube streets. So, I guess, Jim, your outrage is what you just talked about, and you asked me what is my opinion. Listen, I said this a few weeks ago. I'm tired of this. issue. People with the government shutdown, we're talking about the TSA. Let's talk about people who work for the government who has not received paychecks. Let's talk about a text message that I received early last week saying, listen, we're not getting paid. There's about 2,000 of us that work for the U.S. government that live in the city of Detroit. We're worried about food security. We're worried about our bills not being paid. But right here, right now, listen, we need some help with food. So when we talk about security and those of us that are traveling, maybe for business or like Jim and I on vacation, we have to keep in mind there are people that are suffering at the hands of the government. These people that we hire, we voted for them to represent us, and they have failed. Listen, you can point to the Democrats all you want. You guys, all of you are our elected officials. And if nobody is pissed off about it, I don't know what to say. They should be. The fact that we have at least 2,000 people in our area talking about food insecurity because they're not getting their paychecks, get the heck out of here with that. So that's my opinion on that, Jim. And
And
Alan.
good morning, FBA Convo, Karen Winston. We see you out there, Timothy. G Money Hollywood, good morning to you. Tracy, good morning. You guys all look great today. I can see you out there. Deborah Harris, you look great. Kenneth, Janet, you guys look perfect today. We're glad you're here this morning. And for full disclosure, I have an identical twin brother, and he's a little smarter, he's a little better looking, a little more accomplished than me. Right? I'm the second one. He is the CEO of the Columbus Airport, a former CEO of the Detroit Wayne County Airport. So in Columbus, they are not running.
No good.
Kristi Noem's video. I'll just say that.
I just find it offensive, and it's like, the Congress isn't in session. Trump isn't meeting with people. It's like, they don't care. They just don't care about the American people. It's just, the Democrats, whether you agree with their methods in this whole thing, they're trying to protect healthcare. Healthcare is going to go up. Not only are a lot of people going to end up without Medicaid, but those of us who pay health insurance for whatever, those premiums are going to go up. And we didn't elect these people to screw us. For the wealthy, it doesn't matter. So what? They'll pay an extra couple of grand a year. But for the average person, who's trying to make ends meet, and there's a lot of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, which is unfortunate, but it's a reality.
And some are not getting a paycheck right now, right?
Yeah,
Those government
And which
employees
is ridiculous.
if they're not essential workers, they're not getting a paycheck. So, are we doing outrageous?
We can, but I want to do one more thing if I
Okay.
could, and I'll let you go, Vanessa. I just wanted to mention this before we go any further. Adolph Mongo is still on injured reserve, and he's day to day. We don't know if he'll be showing up for this game or Wednesday's game or tomorrow's game. So I just wanted people to know that he's getting there. So I'm sorry, Vanessa, I mean to interrupt.
Oh, no. I guess somebody asked, I'm using my phone, so I can't see. I don't even know if I look like a shadow, if you guys can see me.
It's a little dark. You know what it is? It's when
dark.
the window
Reflection.
when the light comes in from behind, which there's a whole window there.
Okay, so what I'll do is when we go to commercial, I'll change my position.
All right.
That way you guys can see me. So my outrage is it has to do with this, this campaign season. There's been a whole lot of talk about Triumph Church being on a payment plan. I read an article this morning about the payment plan that we know it in the city of Detroit, the affordable water plan. As you guys know, several years back, there were a lot of people who did not have water, and there was a whole lot of conversation about water should not cost. People should be able to use what God has given us. Well, they came up with this plan. I think you pay X amount of dollars, like $10 or something like that. They have different plans. They have three different plans. Well, I read today that because of the money, the spigot has been shut off, basically. Okay. They had X amount of $1 million. That is no longer going to be the case. So there are some people who pay $18 a month. Now they'll be paying $34 a month. And then there were several different kinds of programs. And now, because of this shutting down, this not shutting down, but because they don't have the money, and mind you, we're talking about the city of Detroit. We talk about election. We're talking about ills. We talked about poverty, the poverty rate. Now you're talking about this whole water issue. They now, instead of having these different programs, there's only going to be one program. Instead of having a nonprofit to run one of the programs, no, it's going to be under one umbrella and one umbrella and one organization, which is the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, that will be running this program. Here's the deal. You had 8,000 people that was on a payment plan under this affordable water plan. Now it's going to go down to 5,000 because of the water shortage. Because of the financial spigot being cut off, basically. So you go from 8 to 5. There's been, I think it was like 68% of the funding has been lost. That's what I read. So this is outrageous because people are going to, there's going to be people who are not going to be able to afford to have water in their homes. This is quite interesting and quite outrageous when you're talking about a city that has, is it 50% or 51% poverty rate? That's outrageous. Now we're talking about water, and we have a new mayor that's coming in to office, and you got to deal with that along with those payments from from the bankruptcy, those retirees. That's outrageous. This
It
this
is
is
outrageous.
outrageous.
I think it's around 40%, Vanessa, on the latest report. Is that right, Alan? 41%?
Well, I think at 37%, but the children are 51%.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So that's my
Understood.
point.
Okay, I get it.
That's
Sorry,
my point.
Vanessa, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that's my point. So,
So half the kids in Detroit are below the poverty rate.
below the poverty rate, and you have all these people that was on this water plan. Now you're losing the financing, right? And so, because you're losing the financing, you can't service everybody,
Is this
right?
is this
And so I think it's outrageous, and I don't know who to be outraged at. I'm outraged at the problem, but I don't know who I should be upset with. But I will say the incoming administration got some work to do. And I don't know where you're going to find the money or how you're going to find the money, but that's crazy. That's crazy.
Vanessa, explain, is this a city program or a nonprofit
So
program?
it's so the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, of course, runs it. And there was a
Right.
nonprofit organization that was head of a part of the program, the affordable. See, I have my phone. I usually can read it, but because I'm using it on using it.
Yeah,
So
I'm
when
going
we
to try
come
and
back,
keep us updated.
let's cut the break and I'll be able to tell you. Okay, let's cut the break. I'll be able to give you the name of the organization.
And then
And I want to just touch.
we have James Harris, I think. Yeah, James is here.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, Detroit. This is Deputy City Clerk Andre Gilbert, reminding you that early voting begins Saturday, October 25th, and runs through Sunday, November 2nd. You can cast your ballot at one of our 9 early vote centers from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In this general election, we will elect the mayor, city council, city clerk, and other city officials who will shape our future. To find the location nearest to you or to learn more, visit us at detroitmi.gov/elections or call us at 313-876-0190. I'd like to personally invite you to our Party at the Polls block party on Saturday, October 25th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 2978 West Grand Boulevard, as we proudly kick off early voting. Let your voice be heard and vote early. Our future is in your hands.
Okay, we are back here. We've got, let's bring him on. James Harris. James, welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. We've got James Harris, who is the chief of the community relations for the Detroit Fire Department. I've known James a long time. I've known his father a very long time. Hey, can you hear us? Can you hear us, James? Testing.
Can you all hear me? I can't hear you.
We can hear you. Yes.
We can hear you, but I think you need to hear us as well. Can you not hear us?
He cannot.
He cannot. Okay. You want to sign? Well, let me see.
Maybe log off and log back on.
Yeah, log off. Let me
And maybe check the connection in the StreamYard, because it's a little tricky sometimes.
Yeah. Let me call him and go ahead. Why don't you
go ahead and call him, and I'll cover some of the points because I think it's a good time. Karen, these massive, I'm gonna put my glasses on. Abatements have helped the economy grow. Evil, Jerry Munoz. Karen Winston, they can start saving money by not giving out tax abatements. Kenneth Reed, prayerfully, the philanthropic community can help fill that gap. Terry McCrimmon, how can Trump pardon George Santos, a known identity? That's a bad look, Terry, for sure. We talked about it on Wednesday. Thanks, Miss Vanessa, for sharing your real-life truthies. Kenneth Reed, what happens to the people that be outside looking on? Timothy Square Bay, being on a payment plan is not against the law. Thank you, Timothy. Stephanie Jackson. Timothy, Stephanie, you guys look great this morning. Good morning to you, Allan. Most Americans are one paycheck away from disaster. Americans are now robbing Bonnie to play Clyde. Jay, problem is that Dems are trying to protect white Trump voters who don't even care about themselves. They too are lost in the cult. I think it's important that we talk about those things when it comes to politics. So we have people all over the world working to provide drinking water, right? In Africa and Asia and all these other places. But it doesn't do any good if you have clean drinking water and it's not accessible to the communities. It makes no sense. I think it is evil. I think Jerry is absolutely right.
Well, James is he's probably on his phone because I'm trying to call him. But I guess we'll see if we can figure it out. But I wanted to bring up, it's interesting on the debate. On the debate, we had the question was posed to both candidates about the National Guard, and Mary was very adamant. She was against it, and Solomon Kinloch tried to hedge it a little bit and said, well, for some softer spots in the community, basically suggesting it might not be a bad idea. Well, he got a lot of kickback from that, and then he clarified, no, I meant to say the federal government and stuff. So he's been trying to, which is kind of a little bit of a rookie mistake to do something that's it's kind of an obvious question in Detroit. Majority, while there may be some people in some neighborhoods who say, we're tired of this, bring whatever you got, bring it on. Generally, the overall thing is we don't want our streets being, patrolled by the military.
Before James says something, what's interesting is that we already have the federal government involved with the police department here in the city of Detroit. They already are here. So I don't understand what the big deal is. I really don't.
Well,
yeah, but they don't care like during the bankruptcy.
And you know what? When I say I don't understand, I am being sincere. I need for you to explain to me if there is already a presence here. What is the problem? I can understand a problem with breaking the law, right? I can understand the problem with the lack of due process. I can understand all, picking, as you talked about, Allan, picking people up off the street and they are American citizens. I can understand all of that. But I didn't watch the debate. I can't tell you to any degree of certainty what the question was. But if we're just talking about presence, I don't understand why people are all in a tizzy about it.
Well, I'll explain. When you're talking about the federal presence here, look, the FBI in Michigan it's probably more. Back when I knew, they had at least 200 agents here around the state. The majority of them centered in Detroit, and they had suburban offices. The DEA probably has, I don't know, 40 agents. ATF probably has 30 agents. They've been working with, and the U.S. Attorney's Office, they're federal, they're all federal. They've been working. People don't want troops. They're not trained to patrol. And so the idea is, and they're really, they're not law enforcement. We want law enforcement patrolling the streets. So if there's more with the federal government, with the FBI, ATF, DEA, they want to, and there are task forces, and they've been doing that for decades now. But people don't want to be driving down the street and have the military. It looks like, I mean, the optics of it are bad. And they're not trained to be law enforcement. They don't know how to approach people and stuff like that. But that's fine.
I think that's what Jim has said before. Okay, I got it.
James, can you hear us?
His microphone's not on.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Hey.
Good morning, Chief.
All right. So, James, you're one of 4 candidates running for consul at large. You're running against 2 incumbents with really have been around now. Coleman Young, which is obviously a big name in Detroit, and then Mary Waters, who's been around in the state house and the city council. How's the race going, and are you optimistic under the circumstances?
I am. I just would like to hope and believe I'm not the only Detroiter in the world that thinks it's time for a change. And I don't have anything personal against the incumbents, but I think it's time for a change. If I was in politics for 50, 60 years and somebody said it's time for a change, I would understand. I'd probably gracefully bow out. But
What does that mean? What does that mean when you say time for change? What's that?
You need some fresh new blood. You know what I mean? A lot of times people vote for the same people over and over and over and over. And I just think you need a different viewpoint, somebody who's been in the trenches, somebody who's in Detroit, been living in Detroit, has the energy to get up at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, not just 3, 4 p.m. and see everybody, see everywhere. I don't discriminate. I don't just go to Woodward. I just don't go to Corktown. I go in what they call, quote unquote, the hood. I don't care where it is. I'm fearless. And I'll talk to everybody. There's still people at the end of the day, whether you're a billionaire, whether you're out here, you got a paper route, you're still a human. Your voice matters in the city of Detroit. And I'm here for every Detroiter.
Chief, can you tell us, some of the people may not know you, can you tell our viewers about your history? You are a chief in the fire department, so that politics. So, but the real question is, how can you transfer those experiences and that knowledge and skill that you've acquired in you're working towards 30 years of experience in the fire department? Tell us how that's going to play on the city council.
Thank you, Jim. Leadership, and I'm talking about immediate leadership. In the fire department, the fire service, and I'm not going to keep on eluding the fire because you'll be like, all this dude does is fight fire. No. And as a leader in the fire service, you don't have time to second guess. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to ponder. You have to make a split-second decision right then and right there. You got 4 people hanging out of a window on a 4-story building on Dexter and Davidson. You don't have time to scratch your head and say, hey, we'll circle back. I'll get to you tomorrow. Or I'll have my chief of staff call you. I'll have somebody from my team call you. No, you have to make a decision right then. You got to stand on that decision because lives are at stake. So win, lose, or draw, whether that person survives or that person doesn't, you have to make a decision and stand on it and be able to face the music when it doesn't go the way you want it to go. And I think that's leadership. Yes.
James, when you talk about you say you've been in the hood, what are people telling you? What do they want from government that they're not getting?
That's the greatest question I've heard. I just left another radio show this morning. That's the greatest question I've heard. It means the world to them when they see me. A lot of people say, I seen you on TV. I heard you on the radio. I saw your picture. I saw your flyer. But you know what? I'm going to vote for you because you came all the way over here on B-Week and Mac to talk to us and go door to door and sit on the porch with my grandmother. That means the world to us. You're really one of us. You're not just some guy on TV. You're really one of us. That means the world.
What are they telling you that they're concerned about in their neighborhood that they're not the government isn't fulfilling?
Well, it's funny. None of us, and I'm speaking for all of us, all 4 of us, none of us remember Detroit when it was booming. Like we're one of the first cities to really get America going. So back in the turn of the century in the early 1900s, Detroit was new and fresh. So you got a lot of these new cities, these upstarts like Silicon Valley and stuff. They became popular in the 80s and the 90s and now. So they got real good new infrastructure. Our infrastructure, our water pipes, our things underground, our wiring is like 100 years old. So when you have the flooding situations like we did in Southwest Detroit last year, that wasn't anybody's fault. The only fault it was is we didn't redo our infrastructure, which is huge in this city. And like I said, we're too young to remember. Our great grandparents and everybody remembers that. But we've got to do something about it. I know it's over $1 billion to replace it, but it has to be done because that was just the start. It could get real ugly. It could be the whole city, not just Southwest Detroit.
So you're running for an at-large position against 2 incumbents. Is that correct? We have a question about that. So it's
Vanessa.
Yes. So go ahead, Jim. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm good. I'm just looking at some of the comments, and Dorian's referencing your dad, who was Jimmy Harris, and he was the DPD guy, right?
Absolutely. My dad was a DPD guy, but a lot of people don't know that my grandfather, may he rest in peace, he started DPD in 1947. You know what I mean? To walk the beat in 1947. He got promoted to like commander in 1960 something, right after the riots. So, and he bought me a fire chief car when I was 2 years old. So I didn't want to go DPD, and I love the men and women in blue, our finest, but I want to go the bravest. So I love DPD. I love everything Chief Bettison and the team is doing over there. But yes, my dad was DPD.
So Harris, the Harris name goes with hands-on work in the city of Detroit.
Absolutely. My dad left a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on these streets.
So I have a question, James. First of all, good morning.
Morning.
Glad that you're back on the show.
Thank you.
Can you give our viewers, our commenters, our co-hosts, an idea as to who you are, particularly what have you done in the community besides serving as on the fire department? What are the things that you've done in the community that you think will make a difference if you are sitting at that council table?
Nothing's more important in the world than saving a life. And as we sit here and we think about the people that had plans today, they didn't wake up this morning. So when you save a life, that means a lot. It's just not helping that person, it's helping their loved ones too. I've implemented a program called DSAP, where every smoke alarm, every person in the city of Detroit, if you're a Detroit resident, you get a free smoke alarm. That's the first step in your fire safety program. Back during the pandemic, I had a program going where every department, water, police, you name it, BC, they all had to come to the fire department to get free masks, free hand sanitizer, free gloves. We did that at Ground Zero in Eastern Market from DFD, Detroit Fire Department. That was me and my team. So when it comes to life safety, nothing's more precious than that. Nothing. I don't care what it is. We all can think about right now somebody in our family we would love to get back that's gone and passed away. So that's what I bring to the table.
James, I have a question. You ride through Detroit. You say you've been everywhere. There's some areas that still look pretty run down and really have never recovered from the 67 whatever rebellion or riot. You go down Oakland, you go down Grand River, you go down East Warren. I mean, it's just empty buildings, empty fields. What's the game plan there to bring Detroit back and revive the neighborhoods there?
Well, my first day in office, I want to see where I'm an athlete. I'm a football guy, track and field guy. So my first day in office, I want to see who we got at the table, the other 8 members and whoever, with our mayor, and sit down and let's devise a plan. I love Corktown. I love the Avenue of Fashion on Livernois. But like you said, Allan, why can't we get Oakland? Why can't we get Mack? Why can't we get Grand River, Puritan, Finkel, those streets to look just like the Avenue of Fashion in Corktown? That's the plan. And it starts with
what's the plan? Do you have any ideas? Any ideas how to make that happen?
Our philanthropy community, our churches. We have a lot of churches right now that want to give and want to do and want to develop. But first of all, we got to have the tax base. We got to have people working and businesses in Detroit. Small businesses in every neighborhood would help that, and patronizing our small businesses. We got Motor City matching these new businesses that open in Detroit, and you look up a year from now and they're gone. Why? Because we're going out to Troy still. We're going out to Dearborn. We're going to Novi to patronize them. But we got to make it easier on us. And that all starts with safety. I don't care who you are, Jim, Vanessa, Allan. If you go somewhere one time, and I don't care if they don't even break your window or break your lock, and somebody say you left your car door open, and you go to a game or an event, somebody goes in your car and breaks in your car and steals something. What's the first thing you're going to say driving home? I'm never coming back there again. I'm not going to that business. I'm not going to that store. So safety is first. If you got people safe, they'll spend money. When you guys spend money, you're going to have a greater tax base, and that's going to help our developers in the city of Detroit.
So we have some brilliant thoughts out there from our viewers. Go ahead, Allan.
Let's take a commercial break and we'll come right back.
Hello, Detroit. On Tuesday, November 4th, a general election is scheduled to elect the mayor and other city officials. Please return your absentee ballot by mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. Polls open at 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. You can ride the DDOT buses to the polls for free. To find your polling place, visit our website or call 313-876-0190. So let your voice be heard and vote.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
All right, we are back here. I guess it's you and I. Oh, here we go.
There we are. So we have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Read. There's some questions people want to ask.
So how will you attract business? I'm going to read about 3 or 4, and hopefully you can try and absorb them. How would you attract businesses such as appliance stores and tire shops? Kenneth Reed, who always was talking about I think your grandfather. What is your view of the Detroit Land Bank? That's 2. And what are you going to do? Deborah Harris on the east side. What are your thoughts on improvements on the east side? Stephanie, the city is still using the American Rescue Plan Act for parks, etc. Maybe your thoughts on a few of those. I don't want to get ahead of us. I don't want to ask you 18 questions here, but other than infrastructure, what did the people, Jay's asking, what did the people in the neighborhood want? And I think that's a good place to start. What do the people out there want?
They want a walkable community. A walkable community means, like right now, I'm at Rosa Cafe. You want to be able to walk out of your front door and everything you need, you can walk to get to it. Fresh groceries and produce, a coffee shop, a cleaners, a barber shop, whether you worship at a synagogue, a mosque, a church, you want to be able to walk to all these places. Education, a recreation center, a dog park. That's what we need in Detroit. Everywhere I go, people want walkable communities. They don't want to have to jump in their car. You got gas prices high. You got people with electric vehicles. People will love to walk out their front door and do everything and walk back home, and they're taking care of everything that they need in life. Now, it's beautiful to go downtown and watch the Tigers, the Wings, the Pistons, the Lions. That's great. But if you could just imagine every neighborhood you could walk, just like they did in the old days. You got a fruit market, a produce market right on the corner. You can pick out fresh fruit. That's what Detroiters want, and that's what Detroiters deserve. And somebody spoke about the east side. The east side is coming back, but we need to keep working. But you have to get the buy-in from us, the citizens. We've got to get it out of our head that we've got to go somewhere else to spend money. We can spend it in the city, but our taxes have to go down. Our property taxes have to go down. Our auto insurance have to go down. And that's what I bring to the table. I'm not a person that's bitter, that's always fighting, always looking for negativity. I'm huge on relationships. I have relationships with people in the federal government, state government, as well as the county government. And you have to build those bridges to make Detroit work. You have to build those bridges with Macomb County, Washtenaw County, Oakland County. You have to build bridges and keep it going. That's how Detroit's going to be a better city.
And that's a great point. You over the years, you've acquired a lot of friends out there through the fire services.
And on both sides of the line, Republicans and Democrats. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. No, we got to work together. So I have friends on both sides of the fence.
And 2 more questions, and I'm just going to let you touch on them when you get a point. What's your thoughts? And I think we probably all know this. G-Money Hollywood's talking about federal presence in the U.S. cities and talking about the police departments. And what are your thoughts on that? And what are your thoughts to grow small businesses? And I'll step aside.
Our Detroit Police Department says I've been born, and of course I'm biased when it comes to DPD. I was born and raised by DPD, but we have a pretty good relationship with the citizens, and they do a lot of community policing. So we really don't need the federal government to come in. And like Allan said, he wasn't disgracing or discounting or saying anything negative about the armed forces, but they're not trained to talk to people and work with people like the police are. They're in the community doing Walk a Mile Wednesday. They know how to interact. When you think of military, they're coming to attack. They're not coming to negotiate and talk and peaceful. No, that's DPD's job. When you call the military, they're coming to attack. Somebody asked me about the land bank earlier. People always want to bash the land bank and talk about the land bank. Hey, we need to get rid of the land bank. You got to remember this. Before the land bank, we had 40,000 abandoned homes that were unrepairable, that had been in fires. We've been in fires 3 and 4 times for the same house. Now we've got under 3,000 abandoned buildings. People don't understand if you do the math with that. Most of our fires were in these abandoned houses. So you know how many fires I used to fight on a regular back in the early 2000s, late, especially when the housing foreclosure thing came. Man, we were up all day and night. The majority of those houses were vacant houses. Now that we've got the land bank, they've torn down and they've sold a lot of these homes. Does the land bank need to be redone, revamped, restructured, a little more monitoring? Absolutely. It needs revamping. Do we need to get rid of it? I need to do more research on that.
James, I have a question for you. I started talking about the Lifeline plan, which is the water plan. 3.5 million dollars remains. They had a 68% cut in terms of funding for that plan. The Wayne Metropolitan Community Action Agency used to run that Lifeline plan, which is, water security for people's in their home, people, that need water. What is your opinion, or what do you think you can do if you have a voice at that council table to address the issue of water insecurity?
First of all, I would start with our seniors, our legacy seniors. We've all known seniors that have lived in their home 50, 30, 40 years, and I think they deserve a little special treatment. A lot of these water prices and water bills and DTE bills are astronomical. So I think we should have some kind of precedence. There are a lot of grants out here. There's a lot of money out here in programs and resources. We just have to connect the dots. A lot of times our seniors don't know how to get to these resources because they're not on social media. They're not on the internet. So that's my plan. And it all boils down, like I was telling you earlier, Jim, Allan, Vanessa, it boils down to relationships. You have to have great working relationships with people. We don't have to be BFFs. We don't have to go drink Pepsi together after work, but we need to be able to work together across the table. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's all for a better Detroit.
Okay. Well, James, why don't we, you've got less than 3 weeks now for the election. Good luck out there. We appreciate you coming on. And I hope, again, James Harris running for at-large. Vanessa?
Yes, James, before you leave, you need to tell everyone how they can reach your campaign, how they can get in contact with you. If you don't mind giving out that information, that would be awesome.
Thank you. Go on social media, go on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Vote James Harris. You can also go on friendsofjamesharris@gmail.com is my email address. But remember, when you go to the polls on November 4th, just vote for James Harris for City Council at large. James
and the chief has been contributing to this show all along. We're fortunate enough to meet the chief earlier at McShane's that Kenneth asked about. Hopefully we can get back to McShane's and have you out there, Chief.
Please.
And James, one last question. Do you have your family out there campaigning with you? Or?
Oh, man, both of my daughters, my mom, I tell everybody, my mom's my biggest campaign worker. She goes out, she walks, and she's a walker. So she goes out, she's passing my literature out. My dad, bless his heart, he's blind, he can't see, but whatever he can do on his phone, he does it. So it's a family affair. And Allan, I consider you family, man. You helped raise me, and I love you all. So thank you so much for having me on here.
All right, man. Good luck. All right. Thanks. Okay, let's see if we can remove him. Okay.
Well, you know what? I want to say something. Listen. Y'all listening?
We're listening.
Listen.
I want to thank
Everybody's
both of
listening.
you guys. I want to thank both of you guys for contributing to this show. I really do. I particularly want to thank Allan for pitching in when he needs to pitch in. I was late this morning. He got it started. He made sure that we had a guest this morning. Thank you so much. We want people to watch the greatest show on these YouTube streets while Jim and I are out in the streets. So I just want to say thank you to you guys. I also want to give a special shout out to Lady T, Teresa, who's our producer. She makes sure that we get everything done. She makes sure our commercials are shown. She makes sure that we get on time. Thank you so much. And lastly, I want to do this. I want to wish every man happy Sweetest Day.
Oh, today is Sweetest Day. That's
Today
great.
is Sweetest Day. Valentine's Day, women, we expect for men to give us flowers, candies, furs, whatever, for
Listen.
Valentine's Day. But we don't recognize men for Sweetest Day. So I want to tell every guy that is watching, happy Sweetest Day.
And I wanted to add to, you're talking about Allan and Allan's contribution. I think that people should take a look at that article. It's fascinating. If you don't know about the Republican, the president, I wouldn't call it the Republican Party, the Trump administration, trying to shove information down the throats of travelers. I think there's a good article on Deadline Detroit, and people should take a look at it.
Yeah.
It kind of explains it.
I mean, I'm just surprised how brazen it is, the politics here, and I'm also surprised how little they're doing in Washington to like pressure people to meet. They should be meeting every single day, to try to work out something. I mean, the American people are the ones who suffer. The workers. I mean, federal workers. I mean, he's shitting on the federal workers, but federal workers make our government work. Those who get Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Lots of stuff. Look, the FBI, ATF, DEA. We've got so many things where we, don't realize the federal government provides services for us. So,
and how about James
What's
Harris?
interesting is this. He's a federal worker. The Congress people are federal workers. That's what's so fascinating about this. It's so outrageous and ridiculous.
It is outrageous.
It's
And how about
it's outrageous. They're federal workers. And a lot of them people have been in office forever. So they're not worried about not being able to have groceries and not having a paycheck and not having health care because they have lifelong health care. They don't have to worry about those things. But it's so ridiculous and outrageous. You, sir, you, Mr. Administrator, are a federal worker. You're a federal employee. Ridiculous.
and I just want to touch on Chief Harris. How about that encouraging that message from Chief Harris? This is not the free press, we're not going to tell you who to vote for and who not to vote for, but he has an uplifting message. Whether you agree with him or not, or you don't like him or hate him, that's beside the point. He has an encouraging message for the rest of us that Detroit has people like Chief Harris that are willing to stick their neck out and run for office, win or lose.
And you know what? One of the things that he said really resonated with me and should resonate with those that are watching. When he's out there saving lives, and that's for Detroit police officers, that's for people who work for the federal government, it doesn't matter. You're not checking to see what your voting leanings are, whether or not you're R, a D, or an I. They don't, it doesn't matter. We have a job to do and we want to get it done. When he's out there saving his people's lives, it doesn't matter. The life, saving that person's life is what matters. And I think that should resonate with people. And I think one of the things that we try to do is tell people, look at the person, look at what they stand for. Vote for the person. Don't vote for whatever letter they have behind their name. I am a strong advocate of that. I will say this though, that there are those of us that support different people, parties because of our own personal leanings. I get that. I may lean more on one side than the other because their stance aligns with how I live my life and my beliefs.
You know what? Just I agree with you on that. I was going to say, when you go through all the neighborhoods and stuff, and there's so much. I mean, Detroit is like a blank canvas in terms of what it could be potentially. And I don't know why they don't go to like University of Michigan, to the urban planning department, or Harvard, or wherever, or Wayne State University, and have school projects like say, here, this little part of the city is your project. Develop it, give us a plan, I mean, there is so much potential here to do things. I mean, it's interesting, Banglatown, which is Bangladeshis, have created a community, and it's part of Hamtramck, part of Detroit, but there's stores there. They have Bangladesh Avenue on Conant, I believe, part of it. So there's so much potential there, and some of it is there's if we want to grow the population of the city, we should bring some immigrants into, there's so many places around the world where immigrants would love to come and have peace and create their own little dream. So
couple of points real quick. Do the FBI and CIA, Secret Service, Timothy, are probably protecting the president more closely. You can bet that they're getting paid. Kenneth said that Detroit had 1.5 million at one time. Cruel to his point, Allan. They don't want the city to just thrive, Jay. Dorian says, I hope Chief Harris is nothing like his dad. I don't know his dad. I don't. Maybe Allan, you can comment on his dad if you know his dad. I don't.
I know his
Yeah.
dad.
I don't.
There's some controversy there. I will say that.
Okay. Dorian also talks about walkable neighborhoods. I rode down Dexter the other day. It was weird. Road, no buildings. I saw walkers. That's interesting. People need a place to get out and do things. Adolph is a stand-up guy. He knows he can't be on the show while helping with one of the candidates run for mayor. Just my 2 cents. Thank you, Terry, for your comment. We appreciate everybody out there today. You can't fool our colleagues out here, right? So they know a great deal, and we appreciate everybody's contribution today. Thank you.
Let's talk about Duggan, Mayor Duggan. Can he? What's your thoughts about? Can he win as governor, and what's the dynamics of that election?
So that's interesting that I'm going to weigh in first because that's interesting. I read an article today about John James and the polling. Did you guys see that article?
No.
Okay, he's ahead, supposedly. They said that if it's ahead on, that he's likely to become the next governor of the state of Michigan. Michael Cox, they said, is like low on the total poll. And of course, Mayor Duggan comes in comes in second. But basically, the article is saying that, John James is the guy to watch, and John James is probably the guy. What I find interesting is that as soon as Mayor Duggan indicated that he was going to run as an independent, people started saying John James will probably win because he's running as an independent. And I think a lot of people have said that. And if you believe the polls, and I'm not saying I'm a believer of the polls, I'm just saying if you believe that article on the polling that he did, that his camp did, it looks like he may be the next governor of the state of Michigan, according to that article and that poll. Not according to Vanessa Moss. I'm just stating what I've read. So I think it's interesting that Mayor Duggan, now the Michigan Democratic Party, has basically says, you know what, we're declaring war on you. I meant to mention this a couple of weeks ago. I was driving down Michigan Avenue. I know both of you have seen it. MAGA loves Duggan. He's getting money from the Republicans. And right up underneath it says, it's by the Michigan Democratic Party. I had a conversation with somebody. I said, so this is what the MDP is spending their money on? This is what they're spending their money on?
Yeah.
This is what they're spending their money on. Okay.
And G Money, go ahead, Alan.
I think Duggan, I wouldn't rule him out at this point. I mean, there's talk that he'll detract from the Democrats more than the Republicans, but he's got he's got both a lot of Democrats and Republicans, and he's just getting started. I mean, his challenge is going to be outstate in areas where he's not as big a name, Grand Rapids and Traverse City and the Upper Peninsula, but he's a master politician. And, Jocelyn Benson, she's quite the master of politicians. I mean, John James, I think he's a lightweight, but he does have the DeVosses. They've supposedly given him $5 million for his campaign, which is just the start. But I mean, he's just sucking up to Trump any way he can. And he attacks, he uses it drives me crazy when I hear all the catchphrases like the radical left and this and that, just all the terms that Trump uses. And it's just not helpful, and it's not good for uniting. I mean, I think people are tired of Trump saying, I'm going to go after the Democratic departments here. I'm going to lay off people. And so I think people are sick of that.
So let me ask you this, though, Alan. You said it's just not helpful. You said that he's sucking up to the administrator. Well, one, who would not want to hook their train up to a winner, right? And two, what do you mean that it's been successful for him thus far? I don't know. I'm trying to understand what you're articulating here.
Well, I'm saying, I mean, he's the front runner right now. He's got the money behind him. I think he's a lightweight. I mean,
and the Republican side, right? Be specific.
Yeah, on the Republican side.
Okay.
And the same thing. Look, with Mike Rogers, he's running for U.S. Senate.
Right.
He doesn't like Trump, but he's told people privately, I have to do this to get the nomination. And so I just think there's a lot of time left. I think Duggan, on a one-on-one, head-to-head, I think Duggan could beat Jocelyn Benson. I think he could beat John James. But, I mean, Jocelyn Benson, she's got a name.
So you think? I'm sorry. Can I back you up, Alan?
Yeah,
so
sure.
you think it was a two-person race? Duggan would beat Jocelyn Benson?
I think he has a shot. It's not a guarantee. I think one of the reasons that he ran as an independent is that he didn't want to go up against her head-to-head in the primary.
So I want to make sure I got this straight. So you think if it was a head-to-head between he and Jocelyn Benson, knowing that more women vote than men, that he will beat the woman? I'm putting sex into that, okay?
You know what? Look, we had Trump against Kamala Harris. A lot of women, probably voted for Kamala, but wasn't enough.
They say they didn't, but anyway.
So I'm going to look at it a little differently. When you split the pie just into three pieces, anything can happen. I think John James is probably the least likely of the three to be elected governor. It's just my opinion. I think
that he's qualified.
I'm not.
He's what now? What you say, Alan?
Get into all that. That doesn't really matter, Alan. I don't think it matters. We've seen a lot of elections that qualifications really have no bearing on the outcome. But I will say that.
I'm going to say this. What's interesting is you asked about the governor's race. People are now talking about our lieutenant governor, Garland Gilchrist, who's been a friend to the show, right? People like him. Is he a part of the part of the pie, if you will, Jim?
He's not a part of the pie, and it's not because of the voters. It's because of the Democratic Party removed him from that. In my humble opinion, they decided he wasn't their person, and that's really it's tragic considering that he did everything he needed to do. He's the loyal underling, the loyal lieutenant governor, and I think the Democratic Party, as I say, a lot of people are handpicked, have decided that he's not their.
But you know what? When you talk about he's done everything, we have lieutenant governors who have been for 2 terms, and they never go anywhere. Snyder's lieutenant governor didn't go anywhere. So and Gilchrist is a very nice guy. He's a smart guy. I think he'd be a very able governor, but
so do I. Thank you, Miss Sheila.
He doesn't have the charisma of a true politician. He is a very nice guy. He's very smart, but I just don't think he's got what it takes to.
So what you're
when you
saying is
say
he's
he
too
doesn't have
honest
the
to be elected.
charisma, is that because they don't want us to see his charisma? Is that because the party has already picked who they want to be the king or queen of the Democratic Party? Is that I'm just throwing these questions out there
I'll
because you.
answer. I think the party is trying to find a winner, and they don't see it in Garland Gilchrist, and that could be wrong. They could be off.
I'm not sure of that. I think
Yeah, I with Jim. I'm not sure of that, him not being a winner. I just think that people make plans and deals before well before they're announced. It is obvious to me. And I'm not saying anything negative about Jocelyn Benson. All I'm saying is I believe in even playing fields. I believe in that, and I just can't understand how he was used by the party, not just to usher the governor in, but the Democratic Party used him. And to just say that he's not even a part of the conversation, that bothers me.
it
That
bothers
bothers
me
me.
too.
Well,
And Kenneth Powell, hello, Kenneth. You look great today. Good to see you. Salute to you. Timothy says that let's be real. The Democrats don't want him because he's black, and Jay agrees with Allan on Gilchrist. I think he's very diverse and intelligent, Miss Sheila. I think he's a great candidate, and if they had promoted Garland Gilchrist, I think he would have a great chance at becoming the next governor.
His boss is not even promoting him. She's not even endorsing him, which I don't know if that shows disloyalty or whatever.
Well,
That's
absolutely.
definitely what it shows. It definitely shows that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And maybe it's racism.
Well, you know what? Look, when you
There's that
say the Democrats don't want a
Sexism.
black person, the Republicans are pushing for John James. I think they're just trying to figure out who's going to be the winner here. It's a party issue, and you could be wrong.
So then it can be racist, as Dorian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should win, but the Democrats aren't having a brother for governor. The Democrats don't believe that because they don't believe that he can carry the state, and that's because he's black. I think that's a ridiculous.
No, but it's also, show me a lieutenant governor who's done well in elections.
But that's a sad commentary, is what I'm getting at. If that's the case, the Democrats are saying, "Well, we can win with Jocelyn Benson, but we can't with Garland Gilchrist." And if it's because of his color, that's
tragic. The conversation has been around.
I agree, it's tragic if that's the reason, but I'm not sure that that's the reason.
Okay.
Well, I don't think
that's the obvious thing. He's black, so we come to that conclusion, but we're talking about politics too. I mean, look, the Republicans aren't exactly the most liberal, all embracing. They're trying to find a winner. They see John James as the guy.
But let's be real here, Allan. Racism, sexism, classism, elitism, all those things play a role when you're talking about politics. Let's be real here. And it's on both sides of the aisle. So when people say, I don't know if it's that, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's all of that. All of that.
Combination. It's a combination play.
Well, I can't.
Chinese
Look, that's
right?
your perception. That's your opinion. So it's like we can't factually say 100%. That's your perception. I can't argue.
But the question is, why didn't the current governor get behind her right-hand man? Is my question.
Yeah, it's bothersome. I think she would have done herself some good by showing that she's loyal and saying, I don't care what the consequences are. He's my guy. He's helped me get reelected, and he helped get some black votes during her two elections. And so I mean, she's not to be commended for not endorsing him. I think it's bullshit, but it's a whole other thing.
Thank you, Jay. You may be right. Sometimes it's better to lose with dignity than win without it.
So before we go, I do want to address something, because after the show, I got a text from Eric Brown. Eric Brown wanted Detroit in Black and White to address an issue that Jim danced around last night. He texted me. It was a long thread. I agree with you, Jim, that that's something that he should address on Reality Strikes. So Reality Strikes come on tomorrow. I'm sorry.
Monday.
Today is Saturday. Monday night at 8:30. I think he should address that. But Jim, now I understand because I got a text afterwards, and I just want to put it out there that it is Eric Brown's story. It is his interaction. I think he should be the one because I think he's the one who received the text messages.
You're
So
talking about Horace. Horace.
Yes, about
yes, because he texted me after the show. So it's 11 o'clock. Guys, it's been real. It's been a pleasure. Again, I thank every last one of you. Every last one of you. Happy Sweetest Day. Go get some sweet candy. I hope you receive some today. Join us again Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Detroit in black and white. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.